Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Jay Fong here, and today we are in a very different setting. This is actually the only room in the house that is very dark, very different from the rest of the aesthetics, because this is my husband's office slash relax chill room. It is, funny enough, the only room in the house that has a big enough like coffee table aside from the living room that I can sort of chill and film in. And I thought today we needed a slightly bigger desk than I had last week for the review today. So let's get right into it. So here it is. Today I will be reviewing my Goyard Bellechasse Tote. I pretty much wore this to the office every single day prior to the pandemic when I was still going into the office, but I just think that this bag is so wonderful. Funny story about this bag. I purchased this bag I think maybe 4 years-ish ago, but prior to this I actually didn't have a whole lot of knowledge on Goyard. This was definitely before Goyard hit like its crazy peak when everybody wanted a Goyard. And I feel like now the Goyard tote is kind of similar to like the LV Neverfull. Like everybody had a Neverfull, now everybody has a Goyard tote. This is a slightly different tote from just the standard Goyard tote, and I'll go into that a little bit. But prior to that, I want to tell you guys a little story about how I came about this tote. Like I mentioned, didn't really have a whole lot of knowledge on Goyard, what it is, the brand. I just remember scrolling through Pinterest one day, and I just found this bag that I was like, oh my gosh, it is, I don't know, it feels like such a refined version of a tote, because previously when you think of tote, you thought of the Neverfull. And when you think of the Neverfull, I don't know, for me, I don't think of like a refined workplace. It definitely feels a lot more like of a catch-all, like a travel bag. It just never really caught my attention. But when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect work bag, because it was still really refined, as if it's a handbag. It's structured like a handbag, but it's big like a tote. But it's still got, you know, some refined touches that I just felt like looked really good and cleaned up and really chic. So I didn't know anything about the brand. I just remember liking it on Pinterest. And then a few years later, I had stumbled across this bag when I was just looking on Tradesy. And Tradesy is a pre-owned market that you can sell anything from bags to shoes to clothes. I've seen it all. And I honestly at the time wasn't really looking for a tote, but when I saw it, I just remember it was like that aha moment of like, oh my gosh, I remember liking this on Pinterest a few years ago, and this is like coming full circle. So when I purchased this on Pinterest, and again, this was, let's actually look at the history. I purchased this in 2017. It is now 2021. So it's been 4 years since I've had this bag. So at the time I purchased this bag for $1,900. It was in pristine condition. It was pretty much in brand new condition, or at least that was how they labeled it. And it was from a very reputable pre-sale consignment store. They just so happens to also have their consignment store at Tradesy at the time. Now this bag retails for I think $2,600. Don't quote me on that, because I think it's been a year since I've asked how much this bag was in store. So this bag has made a few changes since I purchased this. The biggest change that the current Bellechasse has is that there is a tag that you can clip the bag to, kind of like this, which mine does not have. So the older version of the Bellechasse bag does not have. This is the smaller version. There's also a bigger like luggage version of this, where the handles are a little bit thicker, the strap here is a little bit thicker, but overall it is just about the same size. So I'm going to read off what the listing shows the size of this bag is. It is 14.25 inches in length. So this is 14.25, and then the height is 10.25, and the width is 5.5 inches. So it is a very big bag. Now on to wear and tear. I have had this bag, again, like I said, for 4 years. I pretty much alternate between this bag and maybe another tote and a Celine bag for work. I typically carry a lot of things for work, so I need a bigger bag. This bag is perfect because it can just dump everything in here. In terms of the wear and tear, I was really concerned about the strap of the bag, because if I put anything too heavy in there, the strap feels, you know, pretty thin and flimsy. But to my surprise, this bag has held up super, super well. So again, I put my laptop in here, I throw like notebooks and everything in here. And the strap, yes, even though you can tell that there is some wear around the strap, and honestly, if you look at the bag close up, it's really only been held by like one stitch here and then 2 stitching on the side. It's honestly been wearing pretty well. There is obviously some wear and tear on the inside portion of the strap where you kind of open and close the strap from. Other than that, there hasn't been too much crazy wear and tear. And again, I was so scared that this bag was white that it was just gonna get really crazy easily worn. But I think it looks pretty good for a bag that honestly, like, kind of, you know, touches the floor, touches the desk, touches everything. This bag has worn extremely well, and I don't really take care of it too much. I'm not someone that babies my bags too much, and this bag had exceeded above my expectation, especially for a white bag. Just like the LV Neverfull, this bag is mostly canvas. The top part and the edges down here are white leather, so that's actually where you see most of the wear and tear. But the actual canvas itself, you can kind of take like a, you know, like a damp cloth or a towel to just like rub off anything that, you know, like food or stains or whatever. And I haven't had to baby this bag too much. The one thing I really wish that this bag had were little feet at the bottom. So even though it is sort of quite a structured bag, you know, this whole entire bottom area is what gets set on the floor, on tables and desks and chairs and things like that. So it does get quite dirty pretty quickly. You can sort of see from the stitching at the bottom here that the stitching color here is slightly darker than the stitching that's up here, even though it's supposed to be the same color. But again, like I said, I think that's just normal wear and tear. You can definitely tell from the white leather portion of the bottom, like it's definitely a little bit dirty, but again, that's normal wear and tear. This bag, even though it is white, has totally exceeded my expectation of a white tote. So I gotta give props for them for that. The other thing about this bag, I'm actually gonna take off this bubble wrap that I have in here. So this bag also has a strap on the inside that you can actually use to kind of secure the look of the bag. Otherwise, you can keep it open and you can expand it to a slightly wider tote, but I actually like it kind of folded in like this. So inside, it is just one giant tote. It does come with a bottom here, like a harder bottom, so you keep it inside and that sort of helps you keep the shape of the bag. And then it comes with one sort of bigger pouch that is attached to the back side of the tote. I don't really put anything in that bag, but it does have a snap closure in case you do need to store anything kind of more sensitive in there that, you know, you might not want just freely roaming about your bag. But other than that, this is a bag that fits a lot of stuff. So let's get right into what fits. So the first thing that anybody is going to consider when they're considering a tote for work is what fits. I have 2 laptops here, so let's try them both. I have a 11.5 inches MacBook Air and I have a 15-inch MacBook Pro. So let's see if the Air fits. And the Air definitely fits. So you can see right here, it fits at the bottom and again, still have so much space and so much room. And the reason why I actually like tucking the sides in is because then you can kind of nicely nestle your laptop on one side and you still have the rest of the room for everything else. Whereas if you keep it open, your laptop kind of just flies around in there. So that's not great. So fits the MacBook Air. Let's try the MacBook Pro. So this is actually what I use for work every single day, and it totally fits. So in the older MacBook Pros, I can't remember which version, but there was a version of the MacBook Pro where I couldn't fit in here because it was slightly thicker. But in the new version of the MacBook Pro, the one with the touch screen, so this is the 15-inch, and it fits literally just right. And I think because it is a tote version, it fits top to bottom, side to side, really, really well. It's like as if this was made for this MacBook. So I know a lot of you guys are probably asking, how do I organize anything in a tote? Of course, I don't actually just throw everything in there. I typically use a bag organizer. There are so many different versions of bag organizers. This is the felt one. I actually really like it because I feel like it matches the inside lining of this bag. The inside lining of this bag is like a off-white, sort of beigeish, tannish canvas. So I thought this kind of matches in there, and I just love bag organizers because there's so many different compartments. This one I got from Amazon, and I just measured the width of the bag just to make sure that this fits. But this is a lifesaver because what I do is I basically take this and I move it from bag to bag because it fits in all of the totes that I take to work. So I'm going to show you what I keep in the actual handbag storage itself, and then I'm going to put everything in the handbag storage. I'm going to leave that next to me. So in this like very big compartment, this is usually where I will throw in my cell phone. So I have a iPhone 12 Pro Max, and that fits perfectly in there with and without a case. I am extra like that. I usually have 2 notebooks, and I'm just such a notebook person. I'm super old school. I have to jot everything down in a notebook or else I forget. And I just think it's so much easier to navigate through a notebook than like online documents. But I don't know. You let me know if it's just old school or if it's a more efficient way of doing things. I usually have some sort of pen in here, and I like the pens that also comes with a little stylus because then I can use it on any touchscreen devices. I obviously have my trusty hand sanitizer. I always have some sort of lip balm or lipstick in here. There is this center compartment of this specific bag organizer that I like because you can actually totally remove this middle part, which is great if you need like sort of a bigger space. But what I do is I have like usually a pouch of just, you know, random things I throw in there. I have my card holder. Sometimes I have my full-on wallet, and that totally fits in there as well. And then I just have some other sort of like knickknacks, feminine care products, and all of those things on one side that we won't show here. And then there is still so many pouches and things that are still available that I can use. So now I'm going to prop in everything. Great. So I'm propped in everything here. Let's grab our trusty tote bag. I'm just gonna slide that. I'm just gonna slide this little bad boy in here. And as you can see, it still has so much room. So much room that I can fit my laptop just sort of at the end here. And everything totally fits. I mean, it is a little bit heavy, but that's a tote. So typically, you know, as soon as I get to work, I just boop, take out my laptop, and I still have everything else that I need in my bag, and I, you know, usually just set it aside. And that is that. So that is everything that fits in this bag. It honestly fits everything that I need and probably more for work. And it is just such a great bag. Again, I've used this for 4 years now, and the wear and tear of this bag is just fantastic. There is something to be said about a canvas leather bag, even though it's not true leather in, you know, the normal leather sense, but it just wears so much better if you're considering a daily workhorse that you're going to be roughing it around, throwing it everywhere. The only thing that I would say about this specific bag is that I wish that this bag came with a longer strap. This strap is not long enough where I can comfortably wear around my shoulder. Like I can, but if you guys are not driving but like hopping into taxis or, you know, in subways or even just walking to work, The strap just doesn't comfortably wear as just a normal tote bag. So that is the only other thing that I would caution. But other than that, this is for me super easy to go, you know, from my house to my car into work because I don't actually have to carry it too much. The strap, because it is slightly thinner, does get a little bit uncomfortable, but I do know that this is a thicker strap than the Neverfull, so I definitely feel like it's more sturdy. And the way that I store the straps is actually, I have a bag holder that I have, and I store the strap upright like this. This is just how the Goyard associates have told me that that's the best way to store, especially these type of handbags, to keep the top handles upright, so you know you don't get into sort of like even more wear and tear as you're storing it. So that is it for my quick review of this bag, of what fits in this bag, the wear and tear after 4 years of owning it. And honestly, this bag has exceeded my expectation. So if you guys are considering buying this Goyard Bellechasse bag for your daily wear, daily work bag, I highly recommend it. If you guys like videos like these, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!